Plays the Thing with your host, Judy Sleed. Special guest, Peter Zablotsky, Director of Development for the Naked Stage.
Love me in Paris.
Thank you, Lee. Welcome to I was going to say to the Naked Stage, the Plays the Thing. And I have Peter in the hot seat today. So glad you could come.
Thank you for having me.
And we had a previous talk, like in the beginning of my shows, like a few years back.
Yes.
But a lot has happened since then, so I'd like to hear all about the other things. We could talk about the Naked Stage first, so people don't think we're talking dirty.
No, we always say we're not anti-clothing, we're anti-spectacle.
Oh.
So you know that the Naked Stage means that there's a minimalist approach to set, etc. And the focus is on the text and the acting and the directing. The last time I was here, Josh Pearl was running Naked Stage as the artistic director, and we were doing readings at Guildhall and sometimes at Montauk Library. But since then, I've become director of development. Josh is still, of course, the artistic director. And the main bit of development that's new is that we started a theater on the stage at the Bridgehampton Community House.
Yeah, when you say on the stage, I mean, this community house is a large, is a building with a large room, and the stage, you built a theater on the stage itself. So actually, it's a very small theater.
Correct. The Bridgehampton Community House is a fascinating building with many great qualities. The main room that is served by the stage was a little too big for us. The sound was echoing too much for us, and it kind of went against the minimalism that we stress. So then we had the idea that the stage is so big that if we close the curtain, we have a black box, like a 20 by 40 foot black box. So we only use the stage, and stage left, we built risers, and stage right is the performance space. And it's got entrances and exits and good lighting. So it really adapted itself well to this large, beautiful building, providing a small space for a black box theater. And of course, it's portable because the Bridgehampton Community House is used for so many functions. So, you know, we have to be able to disappear when others need that space, which actually for the stage isn't too often. I mean, some folks use the stage, but most don't. But when folks want to use it, we're able to clear out, and the community house continues its normal functions.
Well, I've been there a number of times, and it serves very well, serves the purpose very well. And the sound is very, very good also. And it seats about 30 people.
Well, we could arrange it from 30 to 70.
To 70?
Yeah, so we keep it, we always try to only have the seating that we need to have the space intimate. Like I said, it ranges from 30 to 70.
Right, because sometimes you don't need a big stage.
Yeah, I mean, we do all sorts of programs there. We do programs that are really designed for a very small house or for acting or theater arts classes, etc. But we've done a couple of full productions there too. And so there we try to get a little bigger. And, you know, I know you've seen some of those. So that's the plan. We've only, we just started it. We've had 2 programs there so far. And, you know, we've got some scheduled for 2011. So we're looking forward to inhabiting that space from time to time.
That's good. Well, primarily the Naked Stage is meant to be like an experimental playwrights to see how the new plays read.
Well, that's certainly one of the things that we try to do. I mean, if you're devoting your budget to sets, et cetera, then you really can't afford to have new plays tried out and new writers and new actors and new directors have an opportunity. So when we managing it the way we do, we're able to present all sorts of programming. Most of the stuff we present is actually rather traditional, but for our new plays, it's whatever the playwrights bring us. And so in the past, we've had some scene nights and some short plays. And we do hope to read full-length plays of new playwrights in a way that is affordable for us and therefore gives as many new playwrights as possible the opportunity to present their work.
So you get grants to run this theater?
Well, the theater is survives by all sorts of ways. Guildhall pays for some of the programming, specifically the programs that we do at Guildhall, and we're always grateful for that. And Josh started it through Guildhall, and so that's been going on for probably close to 10 years at this point. The Bridge Hampton space, of course, the community house always makes it accessible to us as a nonprofit, so they help us there. And then, yes, grants. And of course, there is a modest box office. I think our most expensive one is $10. Often it's only $5. People like yourself are always very generous and constantly supporting us above and beyond what we ask for. So we have good support from the community, and we have grants. And so far, we've been able to...
And contributions.
Yes, we have donations, and because we are a nonprofit, everything is tax deductible. That was actually an important thing for us. As Director of Development, that was my responsibility. But we're able to not only accept donations and give people a tax deduction, but it makes us eligible for grants that we wouldn't otherwise be eligible for.
Well, I think this is a wonderful thing that you and Josh are doing. There's always room for artists. Artists are always looking for places to put their work, either as a writer or an actor or whatever. As long as you're an artist, you have to show it. You have to let it come out.
Well,
and this is one of the places. Yes.
I think that's true, and you would know that, because I know one of the hats you wear is as playwright. But it is important to have, and the Hamptons is the perfect place for that. It is. And I think that these efforts feed one another. I mean, Guildhall is obviously a mainstay. Bay Street, a mainstay. But once there are so many other interesting places. I mean, Mulford Farms does its work. I mean, they do a lot of summer theater there. Montauk Library, et cetera. And I think if the more smaller venues that we grow in the Hamptons, it'll make things even more vibrant. So of course you hope people who go to see something that we do then will go to Mulford Farm and see something that's being presented there, or go up to Montauk. Guildhall's a little different since it does things on a grander scale. But we hope everything feeds, one feeds the other, and that everybody benefits. So I do think it's a good thing.
Now that you mentioned the Montauk Library, years ago when I lived up the island, there was a theater in Belmore who used the library, and they put shows on. They actually moved everything. There wasn't actually a space. They had to move the books and the shelves and everything to make a theater there. But when people in the theater, they want to do something, they would go. They don't care all the work they have to do.
No, you're completely right about that. Really, people have carved spaces out of nothing.
Yes.
We were lucky. We had literally the open rectangle to use at Bridge Hampton, and then Montauk now in the basement of Montauk. I mean, that space is stunning. They've redone it. They do a lot of music there.
Yeah, I've
poetry,
seen-
etc. I mean,
I've
it's a
seen
nice
shows
space.
there,
Yeah,
yes. Really great.
yeah.
So let's just touch upon that. How did you get into this theater business? Were you born into a theatrical family?
No, I'd have to say I was not born into a theatrical family. But, you know, we always joked that my grandparents came over and worked in coal mines so that our parents could become professionals, and then our parents became professionals so that, you know, their kids could be artists. But there is actually, among my generation of my family, there are people that are significantly devoted to the arts. I had always been trained in music, but had switched my focus to writing in my 20s. I felt more comfortable writing than I did as a musician. I felt I had more tools as a writer than I did as a musician. And I lived in Manhattan for a long time, and the big boost to writing came when I had a play at the Eugene O'Neill Theater Center, the National Playwrights Conference that at the time was run by Lloyd Richards, who was a Broadway director, and the director was the director of Yale Drama School. So that was a prestigious award, let's say, to win. So I've been able to write since, and you know, I've had some productions in New York City. Out here, I hadn't planned on doing that much theater, but as soon as I moved out here, you know, when you meet people like Josh Gladstone at Guildhall and Josh Pearl doing Naked Stage, and you know, all the people at Bay Street, and you know, Josh's wife Kate is you know, she's an important presence in the arts. It really, and they all made me welcome. I mean, in Manhattan, you walk into a theater like Guildhall, and you know, they kick you out unless you have an appointment. You know, Josh Gladstone is, you know, let's sit down and talk and see
He's such
see
one
what
of
we
the
could
most,
bring.
he's one of my favorite people out here. He's just so nice, so talented, I always say.
Yeah.
So you had, I was present when you did a reading at Guildhall for the Naked Stage. When you holler,
Oh, that you were there for that one? Who's Not Ready, Holler I?
who's that? Yes. At that time, I didn't know what that meant. I said, what does he mean by that?
Yeah, yeah.
And then you said that you thought everybody knew what it meant.
Yeah.
It's a child's play.
Yeah, it's a little child's hide and seek in some pockets of the country.
Yeah.
Before you start looking for your hidden compatriots, you say, apple, peaches, pumpkin pie, who's not ready, holler I. So that's where that title came from. It was my first exposure to
And it was a
Naked
very,
Stage.
very interesting. It sounded to me, it was like a very difficult play to write, but you did it very well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So have you done anything since then?
Well, since that reading, that's when I joined Naked Stage, actually. But I've been writing, but I haven't tried to get any of my work produced because I thought ultimately it would benefit me, but much beyond that, just the community generally, to help build Naked Stage. So I've been a little bit more of a producer than a writer since then. And you know, that's allowed us to do things like have the Bridgehampton Community House as a new venue, presenting works by, you know, some known work, but some newer work too. We work with Jonathan Wallace, who was a New York writer and producer, and Mary Wallace, and so we've done some of their. They produce 10-minute play festivals in New York, and we brought them out here, etc. So that's where I've been focusing more on the production and development aspect than my own writing.
Well, that is absolutely needed. It has a need for it, and I know you put a lot of work into it. So I was going to ask, and besides that, you're a teacher, you're a lawyer, and
Well, that actually, I don't know if it's that I think directors of development often have, you know, some kind of business component to their background as opposed to artistic directors who might be, you know, directors and writers and you know, usually they have all the theater arts. Directors of development usually have a little bit more business or financial. So yes, I do have a law degree. I haven't practiced for a while, but instead I'm a professor. And that's allowed me the background, it's given me the background, but allowed me the time.
That's why they picked you.
I wouldn't be, for some tasks I wouldn't be good for, but for the little bit more of the business stuff, then that's where I can pitch in.
That's great.
It leaves Josh free to do Josh Pearl free to focus on the
So where do you
artistic
come
matters.
from, Peter?
I'm from Binghamton, New York, and then moved to Manhattan to go to law school in about 1977, and have stayed in either the city or out here ever since. So
How did you venture to the Hamptons?
Well, like everybody else. I mean, when I first got to Manhattan, I never wanted to leave it.
Oh, you were fascinated.
Yeah, I just wanted to stay. I went to a lot of theater, a lot of jazz clubs, you know, all of which were thriving. But probably, we used to spend a lot of time on Shelter Island. A friend of mine had a house that we used. And then when my children got a little bigger, you have to make the decision, do you want to stay in Manhattan or do you want to come out here? And this just decided to come out here. And
Good decision.
well, I'm delighted. It takes some, you know, you have to get used to not living in Manhattan.
Oh, I got used to it very easily, very easily. I lived in Manhattan for many years, and I mean, for me, I just don't like, I'd like to go, if I only go into Manhattan when I have to. I have to say that. I mean, a lot of people love it, a lot of culture there. It's just so busy.
Yeah, it actually is jarring if you haven't been there for a while. You know, you're used to the gentle sway of the surf, and then you go into, you get off the jitney, and it's like, whoa, I forgot about this.
Right. So you have more than one child.
Yes, I have two boys. They are very different. One, my son Nicholas, was in one of our Naked Stage programs. He played the boy in Waiting for Godot, which was really typecasting. He really was the type that the part called for. And then my other son is younger, and he's more of a baseball, basketball type of kid. So both boys have found a good opportunity out here, and you know, a lot of fun and friends, and you know, things that you'd want your kids to have.
And do you have anything, you mentioned that you're booked till next year at the Naked Stage, which is, so during the summer you don't do much, do you?
That's right. Naked Stage doesn't do too much in the summer. You know, there are so many great things going on. You know, again, you have Guildhall and Mulford Farm and, you know, a lot of good programs. So we made the decision that it's probably not the time for us to try to compete with that. You know, we feel we fill a niche, and I don't mean necessarily compete financially, because obviously we wouldn't do the same kind of programs at all. But as far as the niche that we fill, you know, we felt that it was better served in, literally, we have 10 months to do what we want to do, you know, or 9
It's a lot
anyway.
of time.
Yeah, so we have so much time where we can present our program.
So you are working already, what you're going to open it up with, or are you just going to
Absolutely.
wait?
We are the next time for the Bridgehampton Community House will be probably next spring. You know, probably about 10 months from now.
Oh, in the
March and
spring,
April.
not
Yeah.
even the fall.
No, we think we want to wait to the spring, and we want to do an international, a program with an international feel. So sort of the Hamptons
does that
International
mean?
Theater Festival. It means presenting works of writers who don't all hail from the U.S. So we always want to have some local component to our programming. But the international festival, you know, you bring in something from Scandinavia, something from Spain, playwrights, Italian playwrights, etc. Of course, it's all translated into English, but just to present these works that were fostered internationally and put them alongside some of our homegrown stuff.
So do you feel there's a market for it here?
Well, yes, we do. As long as we keep our programming varied, we think that there's a market. We think probably what we don't want to do is always present the same kind of work. So, you know, small houses are really all we need to be financially viable. There may be the Hamptons International Theater Festival coming to a venue near you.
Well, I could see people would want to go there because people out here are very, very intelligent, and then, you know, some people just don't like to go into the city for all these things, so you could give it to them out here. So I think it will be a very good idea.
Well, we're hopeful. So you're certainly correct. It's a very cultured audience out here, and they're accustomed to seeing things probably far more experimental than we would ever do. So we just try to pick, you know, the right work, do a quality presentation, and well, so far we've been around for a while. So, you know, mostly thanks to Josh, of course. So, you know, he has to be doing something right because it's been a lot of years, and he's still, you know, he's still presenting work. So I'm happy. So
how do you go about letting people know what you're doing?
Well, mostly it's mailing lists, etc. Even in a small...
Smail?
No, email.
It's called smail.
Mostly email.
I learned a new word.
You learned a new word? So that's the basic thing. You know, advertising, as you know, is, even in a smaller locale like this, it's extremely expensive. So you need to decide where you want to devote your budget.
Well, of course, this what we're doing now is a good way, one of the good ways. And another one is word of mouth. It's the best. Yeah.
Well, even in Manhattan, they say the best way is word of mouth. Certainly in Manhattan, people will hear about you, but they won't necessarily know you're good unless a friend tells them. Yes. So, you know, it's always the best recommendation. So word of mouth is important. Your show, of course, is very important. And we're also grateful to the local press, which has given us a lot of nice coverage.
You have a good friend in the local press. He's also a thespian.
Yes, we have.
From the Southampton Press?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, he's going to kill me. He was on my show.
Yes, I know he's been on several times. You always blank out.
His name starts with a B. I'm embarrassed. Yeah, he's a great guy, and he does a lot of acting out in Quag.
Yes, and for Naked Stage as well. I mean, he's he's acted with us. Yes, Quag. Those are bigger productions. He was, you know, he's done that. Again,
Andrew Batsford.
Yes, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew Batsford.
So yes, now you won't have to explain anything to Andrew. But yes, so for us,
and he's very kind. He's always there's a big write-up, and you know, things go on here.
Yes, but also, I mean, Andrew is, you know, he covers the area. I mean, he's the cultural editor. He covers the area, but you know, the other papers have also been kind to us. So, of course, we're grateful to Andrew, but we're also grateful to the other papers that really have all given us support.
Yeah, we can't slide them.
Yeah. Especially when they're so good to us. Yeah. I mean,
right.
Absolutely.
Yes. And so you have a lot of things going, and I didn't want to talk about my upcoming play, but it's just going to be for a reading. And you encouraged me that it's long enough to be a reading.
Yes, I did. Actually, I was hoping that you would mention it.
Really?
Well, Naked Stage read a scene with some very talented actors, as I know you remember. And you know, you've done some work with it, And so, yes, so you have a presentation coming, and you and I have talked about it a little bit. Decided to definitely get it ready for the reading. Then you'll probably have lots of opinions, probably too many.
Yes, absolutely.
But that's a nice thing for you. I think, you know, congratulations. And so you're hoping it will be in October, is my
Yes,
understanding.
I don't have a date yet, but I'm very excited. I'm getting ready for it, little by little.
Well, you should feel proud about that.
So what is the, now that you're not doing anything with the naked stage, just very quickly, what are you planning on doing for a month or two?
Oh, well, I am teaching. You know, there is a summer session at the school.
Where do you teach?
I teach at the Truro Law Center, which is in Central Islip. So anybody who travels down the southern state, when they get to that big white federal courthouse, the law school is right across the street from that. So that's
it
called
takes
Truro.
a long time to commute, doesn't it?
Well, I'm used to it.
I know. I'm just talking about time-wise. Yes.
Well, yes, it can, but like every other person I know, the back roads, et cetera, which I won't mention because.
No, we don't want anybody
yeah,
to know.
exactly. But sure, it's just part of the job. But you know, if I'm willing to commute, I get to live in the Hamptons, so that's a fair trade.
Right. So I want to thank everybody who helped me make this program possible. And I loved having you here. You're always a very interesting person to interview,
Thank
just
you
to
so
talk
much.
to.
Thank you. And I
You
feel
do a
the
lot
same
of the
about
things that I like to do. We didn't even talk about your musical career.
Well, there'll be another show, I guess.
Yes, because I also like music, and I write music and etc. So there's just so much. Well, you're a very talented person.
Nice of you. Thank you, Judy.
See, this is one of the songs. A friend of mine wrote the words, I wrote the music.
It's beautiful. I was always impressed with this music. I didn't realize that you wrote it. Do you ever take a credit anywhere, a published credit for the music, or it's just your show, so?
Well, I think on this, it shows up music by, I think it's
Oh, there
here.
you go.
See that?
There you go. There you go. Well, you know, it's appropriate. It's a terrific piece, and you should absolutely
Yeah,
take
it's
your
a
credit.
pretty melody.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, congratulations on that too. That's great.
Great. And the play that I just finished, there is one song that I sort of remembered the melody from years and years ago, but actually I heard it at the Jewish Center last year. But I wrote some beautiful lyrics to it.
Oh, so it was a traditional melody and you wrote the lyrics.
So the first reading, were you there at the first reading of this? When Devon,
Yes.
yeah, that was it. He didn't sing it, the boy.
Yeah, because I don't remember literally a song being sung.
No, he
Yeah.